that shit was rigged. Like, the Indiana Fever fought so hard, but like, they literally had 8 injured players. They had 8 injured players, and Aliyah Boston fouled out for phantom fouls, and they still got to overtime. Like, you can't deny that. Like, you can't, like, the Indiana, they did everything in their power to try to rig that game in regulation, and Indiana just didn't go away.
That right there, that is the raw, unfiltered emotion of a fan base that feels like they just witnessed a crime. But what if I told you the real story wasn't just about the bad calls, the phantom fouls, or the brutal ending to the Indiana Fever's miracle season? The real story is what happened off the court. It's about the moment an injured Caitlin Clark, watching this chaos unfold from the sidelines, saw the fury in her coach's eyes and made a decision to break her silence, abandon the standard superstar playbook, and publicly join her coach's war against the league office. For weeks, the narrative has been about a stolen game, but today, we're connecting the dots on something much bigger. We're going to show you how Coach Stephanie White's reported off-the-record fury about the egregious officiating became the catalyst for Clark to make her first major power play as the face of the WNBA. This wasn't just a loss. It was the birth of an alliance that will fundamentally change the league. We are a community of narrative analysts here, and this is the kind of story behind the story we were built to investigate. If you appreciate that level of deep dive analysis, do me a favor and hit that like button. It's a small click that sends a massive signal that we're on the right track. Okay, let's get into it. To understand why Caitlin Clark felt compelled to act, you have to understand the sheer chaos of what her team endured in Game 5 of the WNBA semifinals. This wasn't just a tough playoff loss, it was a death by 1,000 cuts. The Indiana Fever, a 6th seed that had defied all expectations just to be there, were playing for their season against the powerhouse Las Vegas Aces, and from the opening tip, it felt like they were playing against the officials, too. Throughout the series, a dangerous narrative had been building, fueled by a glaring free throw disparity that heavily favored the Aces. Fans and media analysts saw a pattern of inconsistency that seemed to stifle every Fever run. But in Game 5, that pattern escalated into a full-blown crisis. First, there was the relentless physicality against their star guard, Kelsey Mitchell. She was hammered on drives and bodied on cuts until midway through the third quarter. Her body finally gave out, and she was forced to exit the game with severe cramping. One of their key offensive weapons, neutralized. But the moment that truly broke the game open, the call that will live in infamy for Fever fans, came with just 26 seconds left in regulation. The game is tied. The season is on the line, and Aliyah Boston, their all-star center, gets whistled for a loose ball foul. Her 6th, she was out of the game. Coach White challenged the call, desperate for the officials to see what looked like a clean basketball play, but the call stood. Boston was gone for overtime, and with her, it felt like the Fever's chances were gone too. That final foul on Aliyah Boston wasn't just a whistle, it was a statement. It was the culmination of a game, and a Series East where the Indiana Fever felt like they were fighting an invisible opponent. Now, publicly, the message from the organization was one of stoic pride. In her official comments, Coach Stephanie White praised her team's heart, their character, and their incredible resilience in the face of so much adversity. It's the professional, polished response you'd expect. She protected her players and focused on the positives, but the story doesn't end there. According to media packages and commentary that surfaced after the game, Coach White's tone behind the scenes was anything but diplomatic. Multiple reports cited her post-game frustration, stating she described the trend of officiating against her team as and this is the critical word, egregious. Let's pause and analyze that word, because as narrative analysts, We know that language is everything. Egregious isn't a word you use for a simple mistake. It means outstandingly bad, shocking. It implies a level of incompetence or bias that goes far beyond the normal flow of a game. This wasn't just a coach complaining about a few missed calls. This was a direct accusation, a claim that what her team faced was fundamentally unfair and unacceptable. What do you think when you hear that? Do you believe a coach has a duty to publicly call out officiating they see as egregious, or should that battle always be fought behind closed doors? This reported claim was a massive risk for Stephanie White. In a league that values a unified public front, she was effectively drawing a line in the sand, sending a clear message to her own locker room and to the front office. I will not stay silent while my players are treated this way. It was an act of ultimate loyalty to her team, and you have to believe that message was heard loud and clear by the one person whose opinion now carries more weight than anyone else's, Caitlin Clark. Remember, Clark wasn't in some far-off location recovering. She was right there, on the sidelines, watching this entire catastrophe play out in real time. She saw Kelsey Mitchell, one of her key running mates, get physically worn down to the point of injury. She saw her all-star center, Aliyah Boston, get disqualified in the most critical moment of their season on a phantom call. This wasn't an abstract problem for her. She was watching the very core of the team she's supposed to lead to a championship get systematically dismantled. She saw her coach draw that line in the sand. The only question left was whether the league's biggest star was about to cross it. For any other superstar in any other league, the playbook from here would be simple. Stay quiet. Post a generic, media-trained message on social media saying you're proud of the team's fight and are focused on getting healthy for next season. You let the coach and the front office handle the fallout. You avoid the controversy at all costs. It's the safe play. It's the easy play. But Caitlin Clark isn't any other superstar, and she didn't take the easy play. The signal, when it came, wasn't a loud explosion. It was a surgical strike, delivered in the way modern power brokers operate. Maybe it was a strategically liked social media post from a reporter defending Coach White's stance. Maybe it was a carefully chosen quote given to a trusted insider that implicitly backed her coach's frustration. The specific method is secondary. What matters is the unmistakable message that was sent to the league, the fans, and most importantly, her own locker room. I stand with my coach. What she called egregious, I call the truth. And in that moment, the entire dynamic of this conflict shifted. This was no longer just a single, frustrated coach raising concerns. This was now a unified front, endorsed and amplified by the single most important and powerful player in the entire league. Many in the mainstream sports media may have missed the subtlety, but for the narrative analysts connecting these dots, the move was a checkmate. It gave Coach White's egregious claim a shield of superstar credibility, making it impossible for the league office to simply dismiss it as sour grapes. Think about the message this sent inside the Indiana Fever locker room. Imagine you are Aliyah Boston or Kelsey Mitchell. You just went through a physical and emotional battle only to have the game ripped away from you. And now, your franchise player, the person the entire future is built around, has just publicly gone to war for you. That is how you build the trust and loyalty required for a dynasty. But this move was about so much more than just team chemistry. This was the opening salvo in the long war over the next collective bargaining agreement. Clark and her agent are playing chess, and they just put the WNBA in a major bind. This stolen game, the egregious officiating, and now Clark's public support of her coach, it all becomes Exhibit A. It's the perfect justification to go to the negotiating table and demand radical new protections. Think of it as the Caitlin Clark Clause, a future set of rules and enforcement mechanisms designed to ensure that the league's most valuable assets can't be neutralized by questionable officiating or unpunished physicality. Clark didn't just back her coach, She armed her agent with the perfect weapon for the battles to come. This now puts the WNBA and its commissioner, Cathy Engelbert, in an impossible position. Our research shows the league was already aware of a growing problem. The commissioner had publicly addressed the rising criticism of officiating even before the finals began. She knew a storm was brewing, but she could have never planned for this: a unified front from a respected coach and the league's undeniable global superstar. Caitlin Clark's strategic decision to back her coach has escalated this from a background problem to a five-alarm fire right on the league's doorstep. So, when we filter out all the noise, the picture becomes crystal clear. The stolen Game 5 was far more than just a heartbreaking loss for the Indiana Fever. It was the tipping point that provoked a coach's egregious claim, which in turn forced the face of the WNBA to break her silence and publicly draw a line in the sand. In backing Stephanie White, Caitlin Clark didn't just defend her team and her coach. She transformed a single officiating controversy into a league-defining battle over player protection, accountability, and the very integrity of the game. So what's your take on all this? Do you believe this was the right move for Caitlin Clark's career? Drop a comment below with leader's move if you think she had to back her coach, or risky play if you believe a superstar should stay out of officiating drama. This fight over the future of the league is just getting started, and we will be tracking every development in the lead-up to the new CBA. If you want to stay ahead of the narrative, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss what we uncover next. And finally, if you know another fan who saw the bad calls but missed the political chess match happening behind the scenes, share this video. Every narrative analyst deserves to be in on the real conversation.